Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's program, we will go over the latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks, as we've had a couple of visits this week, which include Mykel Williams for a draft meeting. Also, Shaq Griffin talking about potentially making a return to Seattle as he met with John Schneider and company earlier this week. We'll talk about both those possibilities in our first segment. Then in segment number 2, we're going to take a look at some updated free agent targets, and we'll also continue our draft coverage in segment 3 as our draft profile series continues, as we will look into the possibility of drafting Cam Skattebo, the star running back from Arizona State. And then we'll wrap up today's show with a Q&A rumors mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling on this very fine Wednesday afternoon. We did not have a live show Monday, as yours truly was off. I was at the Final Four in San Antonio, but with that, we will make up for lost time and give you an expanded 4-segment edition of Seattle Seahawks Today here on this Wednesday. So we are going to do what we can to enjoy ourselves and have a great time today here on this live show. Let us know where you guys are at as we're here from the Chat Sports Studios in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday, and appreciate y'all being here. I got Steve J in the house from Seattle. Good to see you, Steve. Chris is in San Antonio. That's where I was just a few days ago. Had a great time in the Alamo City. I got Mikey in Houston. Legend Life is in Topeka, Kansas, the capital city of the state of Kansas. We got Michael in Honolulu. Orchard says, no way, 4 segments. Yes way. You get 4 segments today. We got somebody, no name, in Orlando. Got Ryan Berry is in Manchester, England. Got Charles in Wichita Falls, Texas. Gingerbread Man checking in from Washington. Got Elijah in Seattle. That is Sasha, by the way. That's in Orlando. I got Raw Hector in Los Angeles. Got Greg Wire in Longview, Washington. Seahawks on top is in Honolulu. So I got people all over the place that are here with us for this live edition of Seahawks Today. Got Tony in Harrisburg, and he's a Seahawks fan. Another question for the 12s out there. It has been a very eventful offseason, and there's still more to come over the weeks ahead with the draft and free agency, some potential trades and all that. What is your favorite move that the Seahawks have made so far this offseason? If you had to pick one thing, what would it be? Could it be Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp? Maybe it is DeMarcus Lawrence. Maybe it was trading somebody like DK Metcalf or Geno Smith, or releasing Tyler Lockett. If you had to pick one thing, what would it be and why? Tell me what your favorite move this offseason has been. Legend Life says Cooper Kupp. I'm excited about Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp is going to be a natural fit for this Seahawks offense this year. Who else in the chat? Who else comes to mind that you loved of the moves that Seattle made? Let's see. Seahawks on top says definitely drafting Kelvin Banks. Well, that has not happened yet. Hate to break the news to you, but that very well could happen in a few weeks from right now. Tony says Darnold and DeMarcus. Awesome O says trading Geno Smith. I got Toby checking in. Good to see you, Toby. Orchard says, I'm sorry, but Geno had to go. Let's see. Sasha says trading Geno Smith. He was not worth the money. Pablo says signing DeMarcus Lawrence. Awesome O says trading Geno because I was so tired of him. I understand. I totally understand where you're coming from at that. Raza says re-signing Josh Jobe. Okay, I didn't expect that answer today, but that's a unique one there, Raza. Chris says Sam Darnold, younger, better, and cheaper than Geno Smith. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Who else? Who else in the chat? Let me know what your favorite move the Seahawks made was in the comments section below. Before we go any further in today's program, let's tell you about our sponsor. That is Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Seahawks today, and they offer last-minute deals. You could save up to 60% buying off for last-minute tickets to sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you save even more when you choose the section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing, which allows you to toggle the feature and shows the totals up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They also have their seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. With Game Time, the Game Time ticket coverage includes your ticket being purchased with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Maybe it's tickets to go see the Seattle Mariners. Maybe you want to go see the Kraken. Whatever it may be, Game Time's got it all for you. Link is in the chat, also in the comments and description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. Glad to have him on board here on today's show. Joining me on the ones and twos, it is the one and only, the legend himself. Big Tex is here with us, as always. Big Tex, happy Wednesday to you, my friend. How are things going in the world of Big Tex?
Happy Wednesday, man. Let me turn me up a little bit. A little bit louder. There we go. What's up, man? They're going fine, man. How's it going for you, man?
Very good, very good. Good to be here with the 12s. Good to be here with Big Tex. If you would like a shout-out from Big Tex, I need you to start spamming S in the chat. The more S's we get, that'll help out the algorithm a bit, let people know we're here, that we're live, that we're talking Seahawks football, and whoever spams S the most in this next minute, you'll be the early favorite to be the MVP of today's show. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and throw some S's in the chat right now, and Tex is going to shout them out, and let's get this show started. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Tony, legend. Greg, Dalton, legend. Dalton, Tony, Dalton, S. Greg, legend. Seahawks nonstop. Greg, Seahawks, Elijah, Tony, Dalton, legend. Elijah, Greg, Tony, legend. Seahawk, Dalton, Steven. There's a new one. Let's get some S's in there. Not A's. Get them out of there. S's. Toby, Chris, Seahawks, Toby, legend. Seahawks, Orchard, Elijah, Dalton, Orchard. Dalton, let's get some new names. Keep going. Tony, Greg, Dalton, Toby, Mykel, Elijah, Orchard, Tony, Seahawks, Dalton, Seahawks, legend. Toby, Tony, Elijah, legend. Mykel, Orchard, S. Steven, Greg,
About
Orchard,
10 more seconds.
Greg,
Keep going. Let's get some new
Elijah,
names.
Seahawks, Elijah, Steve, Mykel, there's a new one. Legend, S. Toby, and OG, Tony. Awesome. Toby, Tony, and DeHawk.
There we go. There we go. Appreciate you all being here with us. I already have 74 people in the building. Let's get to 40 likes, and then we will officially start today's show. If you're glad to be hanging out here with us on this live edition of Seahawks Today, talking Seahawks football, if you're having a fantastic Wednesday, no better way to spend your day than hanging out with Jonesy and Big Tex. Hit that like button, and when you hit the like button, type me in the chat, let me know, and we will shout you out for liking the video here on today's show. So 20 likes right now. Need about 20 more, and then we can get this thing started. What else? Who all has liked the video? Type me in the chat. Let me know when you guys have liked it. Seahawks on top says I'm the 20th like. We're at 28 now, so I need about 12 more. Lon says he's the 16th like. Thank you, Lon. Steve J. liked it. Much appreciated. 10 more. 10 more, and we can get started. 10 more, and we can get started. Let's see. Brian liked it. Thank you for that. Dalton also liked it as well. Tony. Sasha liked it. Mikey in Houston did. Brian did. 7 more, and we will get started. 7 more away. Justin, appreciate that. Appreciate that, Justin. 7 more. 6 more. 6 more likes away, and we'll get this thing rolling. Awesome O says, I'm like number 1. Thank you, Awesome O, for being the first. Who else? Legend Life, Aaron, Vermouth, Chris, Jimmy B. Also liking the video. There we go. 40 likes. Much appreciated, y'all. Salute to you. I'll crack open a cold can of Miller, and we will get this show rolling today. All right. Appreciate y'all. Cheers. Raise your glass. All right. Let's get to the Super Chat menu. Here is what we are offering, my friends. If you would like some screen time on today's show and support the work we're doing, send us a Super Chat. $ next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and get on the show with your name, your message, your avatar. And you guys know how it works. If we reach $300 in Super Chats, that means a boot. It's been a while since I've done a boot. Maybe today is the day if you guys are down to party. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5, we'll give you a little beer cheers. $10, we'll take down some shots. $20, spin the wheel of punishment. And $50, give you a little 2 girls, 1 cup action if you send in a $50 Super Chat. And you guys know, like we say this all the time. When we drink, we score. We drink, we win. Well, if you want the Seahawks to be active this offseason, if you want them to sign somebody or make good draft picks, let's do some drinking. When we drink, we sign. When we drink, we draft. We drink, we win. So by all means, feel free to send us a Super Chat. And when we get to our mailbag later, the Super Chat questions will get the priority. We will answer those first in our mailbag segment. We'll be bringing you later on. Whoever sends the first Super Chat of the day, I don't care if it's $1, if it's $50, whatever it may be, we're going to show you some love and get excited for the first Super Chat of the afternoon if you guys send that in and make that happen. Coming up on today's show, we'll go over the latest news and rumors as we have a couple of visits to talk about, Mykel Williams as well as Shaq Griffin. Also, we'll take a look at some updated free agent targets for Seattle. Wow. Hold on a second, folks. Let me roll through this, then we'll get to Pablo. We'll also talk Cam Skattebo. We'll do a draft profile on him and see if he is worth potentially bringing in to the Hawks. And then we'll do a Q&A rumors mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Folks, we got a big one from Pablo. We're going to put it on screen here in just a moment. I need everybody to go ahead and start spamming Pablo in the chat because this is a big deal. This is a big effing deal. This is a hell of a way to get this show started today. I said that it didn't matter the dollar amount. We're going to get excited. This one's big, folks. Take a gander in the chat right now, folks, of this big Super Chat we just got from Pablo. Because it's about to go crazy in here. Go ahead and start spamming Pablo. We're already a third of the way to the boot with this. Here we go, folks. The first Super Chat of the day. Give us 1 second here, folks. Keep spamming Pablo because this is big. This is big, my friends. This is big. What we're about to show you here in just a moment. Lon's right. He says the drinks are on Pablo. Yeah. The drinks are definitely on Pablo for what we're about to show you next. Stand by, folks. Stand by. Dano's spamming Pablo. Greg's spamming Pablo. Jimmy B is spamming Pablo. Polly, Toby, Greg. Pablo saying, let's go Hawks. I love that. I love that, Pablo. I love that. Give us 1 second, folks. We're having a little technical issue here. Give us a second here, folks. Keep spamming Pablo while we're waiting. Also, get your mailbag questions in using hashtag Seahawks or super chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show that we'll bring you coming up later on. Here is what's ahead on Seahawks Today. News and rumors in a moment. We'll also look at some updated free agent targets. We will also do a draft profile on Cam Skattebo and talk about potentially bringing him to Seattle. We'll also do a Q&A mailbag as well using hashtag Seahawks or super chatting to get your mailbag questions here on today's show. That'll be our final segment. 4 segments today here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Appreciate y'all being here with us, and let's have a fantastic day today here on the channel. Is there a way we can screen mirror it or something? Pablo, we'll put your super chat on screen in just a moment. We're having some technical problems here, but I'm just going to go ahead and read it, and then we'll pay off accordingly here in a few moments. Pablo saying, Tyler Jones, if you were general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, what would you do at 18 overall? Josh Connerly from Oregon, Cameron Williams from Texas, Logan Brown from Kansas, or Josh Simmons? Ooh, giving me those options there, I would go with Josh Connerly. Of the options that you gave me, I think I would go Josh Connerly, and my second choice would probably be Josh Simmons from Ohio State. But I do like where you're thinking there, Pablo, of going offensive line with that pick. I think that's the obvious choice for the Seahawks here is to go offensive line with that pick at 18th overall. Pablo. Everybody spam Pablo. I mean, just incredible way to start today's show with this $100 super chat. Okay. Folks, our apologies. Let's see. Dano says, been a bit. Glad to be back. How you been, Tyler? Dano, I'm doing great. Glad to be hanging out here with 12s and talking Seahawks football today. And we're going to have an outstanding show. I can tell you that much. All right. Get ready for this, folks. Get ready for this. We'll throw Pablo's on screen momentarily. Here we go. Here it is. Pablo Domingo with a $100 super chat. Bang! Make it rated here. There it is. Pablo Domingo. Everybody spam Pablo. Pablo Domingo with a big one. If you were the Seahawks general manager, what would you do at 18 overall? Josh Connerly from Oregon, Cameron Williams, Logan Brown, or Josh Simmons. Of those choices, I would go with Josh Connerly. But I like what you're thinking there, Pablo, of going offensive line with that question there. I think that's the way to go. Is getting help on the offensive line and those tackles there. I think you're definitely on to something there, Pablo. That's 2 of the 2 girls, 1 cup. So I got to, in case you don't know how this works, folks, of the 2 girls, 1 cup, we are going to get to see a total of 4 different women on screen, courtesy of Pablo, and I got to take 2 beer chugs as well. So let me go ahead and start with the beer chugs. We'll knock both these out right away. This is for Pablo. Everybody keep spamming Pablo. Go Hawks. Woo! Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm fired up. Hell of a way to start today's show. Pablo coming in strong with that $100 super chat. I owe him another beer chug. We'll do this here in a moment. But if you want to be like Pablo, there's the super chat menu. First time super chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5, do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, spin the wheel of punishment. $50, give you a little 2 girls, 1 cup action. Another beer chug for Pablo. Pablo, cheers to you. Go Hawks. Woo! Woo! Hell of a way. Hell of a way to start today's show. King is saying we have to address the center position. So you don't believe in Olu? All right, here's our first of the Two Girls, One Cup. It is none other than Leslie Knope and Ann Perkins. How about that? Ann Perkins. Ann Perkins. Great choice there for the first option. Pablo, do you approve of our first selection? We kept it PG for this one. This is for Pablo there. Everybody keeps spamming Pablo. And we owe him another one. Let's see who's going to be next. We'll throw on screen here in just a moment and find out who Pablo's girls are. Pablo's girls. Pablo, do you approve of our first choice? And then the next one, let's see, who do we have here? Ashley Tisdale and Selena Gomez. We're throwing it back. We're throwing it back to the Disney stars back in the day. I don't know what happened to Ashley Tisdale, what she's doing now. Selena, she's kind of quiet, not really saying much, but I think she's on that one show. What is it? Only Murders in the Building. I saw the first season. I haven't watched more of it since, but I need to check that out for more of that. There we go. Pablo's saying hell yes. He's excited. Appreciate you, Pablo. Thanks for that. Let's get to our first segment. That's a result of the beer cheers right there. That's a good burp. Oh, there we go. All right, without further ado, let's get started with our first segment as we will talk Mykel Williams as well as Shaquille Griffin about bringing them back. Pablo says Selena Gomez looks so gorgeous. Yeah. I agree. She was my Disney crush in middle school back in the 7th and 8th grade. I still love her to this day. Without further ado, we'll start our first segment talking about the draft visit for Mykel Williams, and we'll also talk about the idea of bringing Shaq Griffin back to Seattle as he had a visit this week with the Seahawks. We'll go over all of that and more as we get started here on this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, which begins right now. Here we go. Tyler Jones here with you on Seattle Seahawks Today. And the 12s, I need your help. I need you to go follow me on IG at Tyler Jones Live, where I'm posting content beyond just what you see every day here on the channel. And here is a favor that I am asking of our fantastic viewers. Not only do I want you to follow me on IG at Tyler Jones Live, but the first 10 people from today's show that like this fantastic photo of your fearless leader from over the weekend at the Final Four in San Antonio, I will follow back the first 10 people that follow me and like this photo. That sounds like a great deal, my friends. So help me out. Go to Instagram. Follow me at Tyler Jones Live. Go like this photo, and we will get started with this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Coming up on today's show, Mykel Williams, the star pass rusher from the Georgia Bulldogs. He had a top 30 visit with the Seattle Seahawks. We'll tell you all about it. Get to know Mykel Williams in just a bit. Also, old friend alert, Shaq Griffin. Could he be making a return to the Hawks? He had a visit with the organization this week. We'll tell you all about that coming up here on today's program. Let's start with Mykel Williams. The Seahawks, they held a meeting with the Georgia edge rusher ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. Seattle trying to evaluate their options of what they should do with that 18th overall pick. Williams is projected to go in the first round. Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, he posted the following. Georgia edge Mykel Williams, a consensus first-round pick, is currently touring the NFC West. He visited the 49ers yesterday, is at the Seahawks today, and will head to the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow. Williams has also visited the Patriots, Cowboys, Jets, Buccaneers, and Saints. So all of that from Mike Garafolo there on that front. So with that being said, folks, when it comes to Mykel Williams, and I'm going to go over the scouting report coming up in just a moment. We're going to get to know him a little bit further. I'll say this. My preference, and I've been very consistent when we've talked about this on this show, is that Seattle should go offensive line with that 18th overall pick. But if they divert from that and were to go with another position, Mykel Williams would not be a bad pick. I could be happy. I could live with Mykel Williams being the selection for Seattle there at 18th overall. He would be a good fit and would help out this defense a whole lot. Let's tell you more about Mykel Williams. Played at Georgia from 2022 to 2024. He was a two-time second-team All-SEC selection in 2023 and in 2024. And he also helped the Georgia Bulldogs win a national championship in 2022. His best tape, if you want to go back and look for some of his highlights, go watch the two games against Texas. He went off against the Longhorns and just annihilated Quinn Ewers and company that day with his performances. And both those games, Georgia ended up beating Texas in both the regular season and in the SEC championship game. His statistics, Williams last season had 5 total sacks, along with 26 pressures and 2 forced fumbles. He also had 9 TFLs and 21 tackles. The year prior had 18 tackles, 7 TFLs, 4.5 sacks, 26 pressures, and 1 forced fumble. The scouting report on Williams includes the following. He's got good size and frame, an impressive upper body with the strength that he brings to the table there. He's got great movement skills. He's very natural at his position. He's got effective agility, but he does lack a true go-to move. And maybe that's something that he could potentially develop working with Mike Macdonald, who has done such a good job with these pass rushers over the years, dating back to his days with the Baltimore Ravens and at the University of Michigan on the college level. So what do you think about the idea of Mykel Williams? Here's your chance to be on the clock here on Seahawks Today and tell us what you think. Should the Seahawks draft Mykel Williams or not? Type D for draft, P for pass. Weigh in the comments section and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Seattle Seahawks Today, and they offer last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing, which includes a feature where you can toggle and show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They also have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest prices are guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. That's called the Game Time Ticket Coverage. They make it so simple and great to work with, folks, whether you're looking for tickets to a Seattle Mariners game or other events within the Seattle area. It's super user-friendly. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks Today. All right, let's talk one visit to another, and we are bringing up an old friend, Shaquille Griffin, who began his career with the Seattle Seahawks. He had a meeting with Seattle on Monday, and I was out of the office Monday, so didn't get a chance to touch on this when it happened, but wanted to give you some details and talk about the possibility of a return for Shaq Griffin. This comes from Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, who posted the following on X. Sources, former Pro Bowl corner Shaquille Griffin is set to visit the Seahawks today, on Monday. One of the top free agents still available, Griffin appeared in all 17 games for the Vikings last season, totaling 41 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. I'm open to this possibility of bringing back Shaq Griffin to this Seahawks team and adding some depth to this corner room. And I don't know how many people realize this, but he had a sneaky good season last year with the Minnesota Vikings. Since he left Seattle, he's been a bit of a journeyman. He's played for a few different teams. But what we saw in 2024 was a bit of a bounce-back season for him, the best year he's had in a while. And in this regime under John Schneider, one thing that we've seen, whether it's guys like Jarran Reed or many others, the door is always open for players to make a return to Seattle. We have seen that this organization has done a really good job of saying, like, hey, just because you left doesn't mean that you burned a bridge and that you can't come back. And the fact that Shaquille Griffin had that meeting with John Schneider and came up to Seattle, that tells me that they're pretty serious when they consider potentially signing him and bringing him back and finding a role for him on this Seahawks team. What could that role be? We'll discuss that in a moment. Let's ask you first, should the Seahawks bring back Shaq Griffin? You got 2 options here. You can type Y for yes, in for no. Way in the comments section. Tell me if you like the idea or not. Folks, I need you to subscribe to Seattle Seahawks Today as we're bringing you daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day. Live shows twice a week, every Monday and Wednesday, in addition to our interactive Q&A mailbags, breaking news, whether it's a video in the studio or at home in the Jones Zone. We cover it all for you here on Seahawks Today. I want to get at least 20 subs off today's video. I know you guys can make it happen. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Stay up to date with everything going on with your Seattle Seahawks. We got you covered here on the channel. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Now, there was a statement made within the last couple of weeks from Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald when he was asked about Josh Jobe and his role with this Seahawks defense. And as of right now, Josh Jobe would be one of your starting outside corners. But Macdonald said, hey, even though we signed him to a 1-year, $2 million deal, we are still evaluating our options and looking for competition for Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe did a pretty decent job, all things considered, being a practice squad player for the majority of his career. And with the injuries, he got the chance to step in, and he held his own. But even with that said, I have some concerns with Josh Jobe long term. I don't know if I want to enter 2025 and him be your starting outside corner playing next to Rick Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. I would gladly take Josh Jobe on my team and have him be a backup and be a guy that could step in as a starter if needed, if there's an injury, or use him in 4 and 5 corner sets of sorts. But you bring in Shaq Griffin, I think he would get the promotion to be the starting outside corner opposite of Rick Woolen and Devin Witherspoon, and then Josh Jobe be that next guy, and I think that could work for Seattle. You look at Shaq Griffin, and he's still not that old either. He was drafted in 2017 out of UCF by the Seahawks, obviously got to play with his brother, and that was fantastic, a great story when those two were a tandem here in Seattle. He was a Pro Bowler in 2019 with the Seahawks. Since he left, he's played for the Jags, the Texans, the Panthers, and most recently with the Minnesota Vikings. And here's what we talk about of him having a bounce-back season quietly with that Minnesota team that made a playoff run last season. He had 2 interceptions, 41 tackles, 1 TFL, and 6 pass breakups there with the Vikings. And you look at his numbers, his coverage stats, his QB rating allowed, very solid. Just a 75.8. Only gave up 2 touchdowns and about 429 yards. That, to me, is a starter, and that's an upgrade from Josh Jobe. And then when you talk about the financial terms, he's very affordable. This is not somebody that you're going to have to break the bank for to be a starting corner in a room that could use some more depth. His most recent contract projection, courtesy of USA Today, has Shaquille Griffin projected to get about a 1-year, $3.3 million deal. And we know that Seattle has plenty of money to spend. They could easily sign Shaq Griffin to that deal and bring him back and be a pretty decent piece to this Seahawks defense. So I like the idea. And I got to ask you, what's your favorite memory of Shaq Griffin from his time in Seattle? I always think back to when he and his brother had that tandem sack. I think it was on Aaron Rodgers against the Green Bay Packers. That was a great moment. What about you guys? What do you think of when you think about Shaq Griffin? Weigh in the comment section. Let me know. Follow me on the gram at Tyler Jones Live for more Seahawks coverage beyond what you're seeing here on Seahawks Today at Tyler Jones Live. And a reminder, first 10 people that like that photo that we showed you earlier and also follow me, you are getting a follow back on IG at Tyler Jones Live. There's one more look at yours truly swagging out there in San Antonio. Thanks for joining us here this edition of Seahawks Today. I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great one. We'll see you next time. There we go. One segment down, 3 more segments to go here on Seahawks Today. Now let's ask you, should the Seahawks bring back Shaq Griffin? Y for yes, in for no. What do you guys think about that possibility? Ty Man, the Buckeyes saying yes. Brian's saying yes. Got Mike saying yes. It's also our poll question right now. 66% of you saying yes, 34% saying no. What else we got here? We got the Seahawk fans saying yes. Brian saying yes as well to that idea, that possibility. Weigh in the comments section. Dalton saying yes. John Smith in the house. John, I got to say thank you for the super thanks, the $100 super thanks we got the other day, my guy. Much appreciated. Thanks for sending that in and supporting us, man. Much appreciated. Super chat menu. We're already at $100 for the day, so we're off to a very good start. We got to get to 300 to get to a boot, and that very well could happen. We're certainly within striking distance with 3 segments to go. We have an expanded edition of Seahawks today as we're doing 4 total segments. If you're a first-time super chatter, I would love to see some first-time super chatters today. Whether you want to send in $1, $5, $50, I don't care. I would love to show some love for a first-time super chatter here on today's show. $5, we will do a beer cheers. $10, take down some shots. $20, spin the wheel of punishment. And $50, we'll do a little 2 girls, 1 cup action. We're a third of a way to the boot. At $100, got to get to 300 to get there. John Smith says that he's dead. He's dying. John, you got to see for yourself. You will not be disappointed if you send in a 50 for that 2 girls, 1 cup. I can tell you that much right now. If you send in a super chat, we can make that happen. Up next, let's talk free agent targets. I got a list of updated names to watch that could potentially sign. And then later we'll talk about Cam Skattebo and potentially drafting him. And then we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Go ahead and start getting in your questions now using hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. John, you will not vomit. You will not vomit. I can tell you that much if you send in a $50 Super Chat. You will not be disappointed. You will not be vomiting. We will keep it appropriate for the YouTube streams. We will not be trying to get kicked off YouTube for that. All right, let's get going. Free agent targets, segment 2, as we continue here on Seahawks Today. Let's get started right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Free agency continues, and on today's show, we're going to take a look at some updated free agent targets. There's plenty of players still available out there. John Schneider has indicated that they are not done making moves on the free agent market. I'll go over 3 names at 3 different positions that could end up in Seattle coming up in just a bit. Before we do, folks, from now until the NFL draft, we are doing a pre-draft sub-battle between some of our powerhouse channels in the NFC here at Chat Sports. And I am pleased to report we are leading this pre-draft sub-battle with 2,269 new subscribers. Very nice. 49ers report not too far behind at 2,150. And the Cowgirls report also hanging in there at 2,135. So if you want daily Seahawks coverage, also our live shows, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and you want to stick it to the Bang Bang Niner gang, I call them the Whiner gang, and the Cowgirls, and win this sub-battle before the draft, subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Big move coming. We are going to look at 3 free agent targets that John Schneider could potentially sign here in NFL free agency at 3 different positions. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Asante Samuel Jr., just 25 years old, most recently with the Los Angeles Chargers. And the first question I have to ask is, how in the hell is he unsigned? It doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. Asante Samuel Jr. has had a very good career. He's been a solid starter in this league, comes from a great football family. His dad was terrific with the New England Patriots for a long time. I don't understand it. Now, did have some injuries last year, only played in 4 games in 2024. But prior to that, he was very consistent. 2 interceptions in 2023, 2 interceptions in 2022, 2 interceptions in 2021. And you look at the options Seattle has at the corner spot right now. Devin Witherspoon is a star, and he's great at the nickelback spot. And then you look at the other corners, the outside corners. I have some question marks about Josh Jobe as a full-time starter. I would prefer him to be a backup, but I still want him on my team. And then Rick Woolen. We've seen the good, we've seen the bad, and we've seen the ugly with Rick Woolen. I like Rick Woolen, and I'm very optimistic that he could still be a great corner in this league. But we have seen our fair share of struggles, especially when it comes to tackling. I think you'd feel a lot better about that position if you had a guy of Asante Samuel Jr.'s caliber who's still very young at this point. So let's ask you now, our pinned comment today, your chance to be the GM here on Seahawks Today. Should Seattle sign Asante Samuel Jr.? Type S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and let us know if you'd like to see Asante Samuel Jr. in Seattle or not. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, maybe it's rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, home runs in baseball, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Springtime is here, and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. The second half of the basketball season is here, and the push to the playoffs is heating up on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. I'm looking ahead to the Masters. I love me some golf. Those that know me know I'm a big golf guy, and can't wait to see how everything unfolds this weekend from Augusta. I got a couple live guys in my Prize Picks lineup for Thursday. Phil, the lefty, I love you, but Father Time has defeated Phil Mickelson. I got the less on 3 birdies or better on Thursday. Brooks Koepka, looking for a win there at the Masters. I'm a big fan of Brooks. I think he's going to have less than 72 strokes and have a good start to the Masters there. I'll put $20 down. If that hits, that turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Up next, we find another young player. That is Jedrick Willis Jr., who was previously with the Cleveland Browns. And this is another one that's a bit of a head-scratcher of why he is still out there. He has been a solid starter when needed. And at the tackle position, here's the reality that the Seahawks are facing right now. Charles Cross, I think, is turned into a star left tackle. Abraham Lucas, I like him when he's available, but the availability has been a big question mark over the last 2 seasons. And if you're Seattle, you need some depth pieces if something were to happen to Abraham Lucas or to Charles Cross, guys that you can depend on that can step up when their name is called. And I'll say this, Jedrick Willis Jr. has a pretty decent track record. Overall grade of 52.9, pass block grade of 63.6, run block rate of 51.6 and 245 snaps this past season, allowed 3 sacks, got called for 7 penalties. If he's your backup, if he's a rotation guy, I can live with those numbers. I think he can get the job done at a relatively cheap cost. What do you think about this idea? Should the Seahawks sign Jedrick Willis Jr.? You got 2 options. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in and let us know if they should. Last on the list, this guy's by far the oldest on here at 33 years old. Brandon Scherff, most recently with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The former Pro Bowl offensive guard is still available at this point. And I got to tell you, when I look at him, he's had a solid career. We mentioned being a Pro Bowler, and this is somebody that I think would be an immediate upgrade at the guard spot compared to what Seattle has right now. I was hearing some yahoos say out there that it was a big deal the Seahawks lost Laken Tomlinson. I don't think so. I think adding a guy like Brandon Scherff in addition to your draft picks and then just developing the guys you got, I think you'd be much better off potentially than having to settle for Laken Tomlinson. His grades last year, played in over 1,000 snaps, solid overall grade with a 64.7. Had a pass block grade of 74.5, which was really good. Run blocking could use some work, a 57.3 run block grade. Did not allow a single sack. That is very important, especially when you compare that to other guards that are on the market like Shaq Mason. I know people have talked about Shaq Mason potentially for Seattle, who gave up 8 sacks last season, which was tied for the most of any guard, any interior lineman in the NFL last season, and only got called for 2 penalties. So although the run blocking could use some work, I think there's a whole lot more good than bad that he brings to the table. I would like this idea of signing Brandon Scherff if that opportunity presents itself. Who is a player the Seahawks should sign? We've gone over a few free agent targets here on today's show. Now I want to hear from you. Who comes to mind that you would like to see John Schneider put the pen to the dotted line and add to this Seahawks team? Give me a name or 2 or 3 that you would like to see sign with the Seattle Seahawks here in NFL free agency. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks today. We're going to continue to follow everything you need to know here in free agency. We're also counting down to the draft. We're talking trades. Your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks news and rumors is right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Doesn't cost you a thing. Absolutely 100% free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. We're halfway home. Who is a player the Seahawks should sign? I see the Seahawk fan Jay saying Amari Cooper. Got a super chat from Myron. We'll throw on screen here in just a bit. Let's see. Nate says Savin Ashmid. Who else we got? Boskin says we could do a Becton move and move Wills to left guard. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. John Smith with a big one, too. Okay, let's catch up on these Super Chats. Here's the menu real quick so you guys can see for yourself. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 will do a beer cheers. $10 will take down some shots. $20, spin the wheel of punishment. $50, 2 girls, 1 cup. We reached $300 in Super Chats. We will do a boot, and I am pleased to tell y'all we're halfway through today's show, and we're already over halfway to a boot. We're $155 right now. That means we are $145 away from getting to a boot. So let's catch up on these Super Chats. Starting with Myron, $5 beer cheers. Cheers to you, Myron. Isn't there 2 offensive tackles from the Browns that are available? Sign them both. P.S. How was the Final Four? So the Browns, I think who you're talking about is actually at the guard spot, Wyatt Teller. There's been some rumors we talked about on this channel previously about Wyatt Teller potentially being traded, and you're not going to have to give up a ton for Wyatt Teller. I would like to see Wyatt Teller here. I know some Seahawks fans don't feel great about Wyatt Teller after that dirty play he had to injure Uchenna and Nwosu in the preseason last year, but I take all the help we can get at this point. How was the Final Four? Final Four was awesome. I had a great time at the Final Four. Awesome 3 games there in San Antonio. Florida took home the national championship in a classic game there with Houston, and it was good to see Duke lose. I always enjoy that, but unfortunately Houston didn't win it all. I was hoping Houston would take home the title, but San Antonio was great. Final Four was awesome. Had a great time, and I appreciate you asking, Myron. Thanks for sending in that $5 Super Chat. And then, folks, a big one here of our next Super Chat. We got a $50 Super Chat from John Smith. Bang! John. Everybody spam John. Spam John in the chat. That'll be another 2 girls, 1 cup for John Smith. Everybody spam John. Spam John with a $50 Super Chat. I got to chug more beer as well. John says, do you think the combination of cap space and draft capital could mean a big trade? Agreed. Samuel being available does seem crazy unless they have another move up their sleeve. I love the idea of Samuel, Woolen, and Spoon in the defensive backfield. You're absolutely right, John. I don't think it's a bad idea at all to go sign Asante Samuel Jr. Shaq, Griffin, either one. I think you need another starting caliber outside corner. Maybe you find it in the draft, but I don't want to go into the season with Josh Jobe as the full-time starter. Yes, there's plenty of cap space, about $35 million. You got 10 draft picks. Yeah, I think that there could be another big move coming, whether it's in free agency or in the draft or something like that. John, you're absolutely spot on with that. So, John, with the 2 girls, 1 cup, that means I got to chug a beer, and that also means that Big Tex will show you another couple gals on screen for John Smith. John, I don't know what you like, if you're into blondes or brunettes or redheads or whatever, so you're going to be surprised, just like me, when we throw your 2 girls on screen for you here in just a moment. But John Smith, cheers to you. Everybody spam John. Spam John. Go Hawks. Here we go. Woo! That's another one down the pipe. This next one's for Smitty. John says, LOL, married 17 years, but I love pretty girls. Don't we all? John? Like, Tex, you can, I think Tex would agree with me. That's a very G-rated thing to say. We all like pretty girls. Yeah. And in fact, here's not just 2 girls for you. We got 2 broke girls for John Smith. They are not sending in Super Chats. 2 broke girls, former CBS show for you, John Smith. I never saw 2 broke girls. What I think when I see 2 broke girls is you You get to the afternoon window, and Jim Nantz is saying, Tuesday on CBS, don't miss out on a new episode of Two Broke Girls, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. That's what I think of when I think Two Broke Girls. But there you go. John Smith says, a.k.a. stepdaughters. Oh, that's funny. That's funny, John Smith. Tex, did you ever see Two Broke Girls? Now tell me this, Tex, as you put your mic on. You were telling me that you think Smitty would like that. I was not aware. Is Smitty a fan of Two Broke Girls or something? I don't know the context here.
Can you hear me? Test. Hold up.
Can you hear Big Tex?
Let's get me a little louder. There we go. I believe he's, I overheard him one time, he's a fan of one of the actresses from the show. He's familiar with her work, I guess.
Okay. I'm not so familiar with her
I
work.
think it was, it's the dark-haired lady. I don't know what her name is. I am blanking. I have not seen Two Broke Girls, to be fair. I am not versed in that TV show. Kat Dennings. Yes, that's why. Shout out Kat Dennings. There you go, Smitty.
Kat Dennings. Okay, that's who that is.
Yep. That was the idea, at least.
Okay, I like it. There you go, John Smith. Bodkin was a fan of that show. He said that show was funny as F. I never saw it. I might have to check it out now. Now I'm very intrigued. All right, up next, we will talk about Cam Skattebo and get to know him a bit and talk about the idea of potentially drafting him. So we'll get to that in our next segment. So don't miss out on that. And yes, Kat Demming says Boskin. Okay, very good. Let's go to the Super Chat menu one more time before we get to this segment. Myron says, eye candy is always nice. Calorie-free, unless your wife catches you glancing for too long. That's funny. We're at $155 in Super Chats. We're $145 away from Dot's Boot. We're halfway through today's show. Let's see if we can make a boot happen today. I know John Smith and company, they want a boot to happen, which is 3 beers in 1. We chug it as fast as possible. 2 segments to go. Will we get there? We shall see. First time Super Chat is get the Seahawks chant. $5 will give you a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, spin the wheel of punishment. And $50 will give you a little 2 girls, 1 cup action. And we'll see what we have next after we had 2 broke girls. The Boskin says she's on the new Tim Allen show. I like Tim Allen. I haven't watched that new show yet. I was a huge fan of Last Man Standing. Home Improvement was good. Last Man Standing was fantastic. They changed out the characters on that show a couple of times. But at the end of the day, you still had Tim Allen and Nancy Travis, so that's what matters. That made for a fun show. I liked Last Man Standing. I might have to go back and rewatch Last Man Standing. All right, let's get to know Cam Skattebo, the Arizona State running back, and we will see what we'll look into the possibility of him being drafted by the Seahawks. That's coming up next, and then we'll do our mailbag to follow afterwards. All right, here we go. Let's get to know Cam Skattebo right now here on Seahawks Today. It is I, your fearless leader, Tyler Schultz, here with you. Thanks for joining us as we are talking about Cam Skattebo, the star running back from the Arizona State Sun Devils. Could he be on his way to Seattle? We will break down the possibility of the Seahawks drafting him, go over his scouting report. We'll let you hear from Fox Sports college football analyst Brock Heward of why he thinks that Skattebo would be a good fit for the Hawks. We'll go over all of that and more coming up here on today's show. Now, Skattebo, a lot of people think at the next level is not going to be a running back, that he's going to play the fullback position. And we have talked a lot on this show that the Seahawks offense is looking for a fullback. So, do you want the Seahawks to add a fullback? If so, like today's video. Hit that like button. Let John Schneider and company know loud and clear that we want to see a hog molly in that backfield. Hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. Cam Skattebo. I'm a big fan of Cam Skattebo. I got to see him in person when, unfortunately, my Kansas Jayhawks lost to his Arizona State Sun Devils last season, and he was fantastic. He was just so good in a number of ways, carrying this Arizona State team on his back en route to winning the Big 12 title, getting to the college football playoff, and now he's looking to take that next step as he enters the National Football League. So what about the idea of bringing him to this Hawks team? Let's tell you more about Cam Skattebo. Began his career at Sacramento State. He was a 0-star recruit at Sacramento State, then went into the transfer portal, still did not have a ton of options as he was looking to move up to the FBS level. But then a guy by the name of Kenny Dillingham, one of the best young coaches in the country, he heard all about Cam Skattebo, gave him the opportunity, and boy, did he deliver with the Sun Devils, as he was a first-team All-American this past season, first-team All-Big 12. And even though Arizona State lost a heartbreaker to Texas in the Peach Bowl, Cam Skattebo was so good in that game, he was still named the Peach Bowl's offensive MVP. And I don't even think Texas fans were mad about it, because they were sitting there like, wow, this guy's incredible. He's the real deal. And really just worked that Texas defense. And what I've seen from Cam Skattebo, looking at his draft evaluation and hearing the interviews, as well as just the way he's worked on the football field, I see a guy that is one of the hardest working players I've ever seen. And this is somebody that if you say, Cam Skattebo, I need you to jump and do this, and his answer is going to be how high. He is willing to do whatever is asked of him, whether it's running the football, whether it's as a pass catcher, a blocker, a teammate, a leader. He does all the little things right. You look at his statistics, and he was phenomenal, my friends. This past year with Arizona State, rushed it nearly 300 times and was able to finish the season with over 1,100 yards, averaged 5.8 yards per carry, 21 total touchdowns this past year at Arizona State. But that's not all, folks. Look at what he did as a receiver as well. 45 total catches for 605 yards with 13.4 yards a reception, along with 3 receiving touchdowns. He did it in more ways than one. The scouting report on Skattebo: he's a physical downhill runner. He's got good patience and vision, a lot better vision than 4 eyes right here. And one thing that I really like is the third down value he brings to the table. Whether it's a short yardage situation, whether it's on a screen and creating some openings that way, you have to account for wherever Cam Skattebo is on the field in the plays that he can make in those third down circumstances. He's got unteachable effort. I don't know anything about his family, but I just have to imagine he was raised right, that he's got a good mom and dad that have just done all the things to put him in a position to succeed. Good character, good motor. Now, the downside, he does lack explosiveness a bit, but if he's playing fullback for me and as a backup running back, I can live with that, of maybe not being the most explosive guy. I think there's enough good that can make up for him lacking the explosiveness there. More on Cam Skattebo in a moment, but first, let's ask you guys your chance to be on the clock here on Seahawks Today. Should Seattle draft Cam Skattebo? Type D for draft, P for pass. Way in the comments section, let us know if they should draft Cam Skattebo or not. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Seattle Seahawks today. They offer last-minute deals, which include savings up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best games in the stadium. They also offer their zone deals, which save even more when you choose a selection and let Game Time choose the seats. They also offer their all-in pricing, where you can toggle this feature and it will show you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They also offer their seat views, where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price at Game Time is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. I got to tell you, folks, I mean it when I say I love Game Time. The game I mentioned that I saw Cam Skattebo play in person against Kansas, where did I get my tickets? Game Time. Maybe you want to go do a Mariners game or another event in Seattle. Game Time has got you covered. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, so let's talk about what Skattebo brings to the table. His vertical jump is a 39.5-inch vertical jump. And if you don't understand that, that's okay. That's where I come in to give you a little perspective on that. Here's some names that vertical jump is better than. Some freak athletes, okay? Adrian Peterson. And I love Adrian Peterson. His vertical jump was higher than AD all day. Adrian Peterson's my favorite running back that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And he's got a higher vertical jump than him. How about beast mode? Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, higher than him too. And you want another? I'll give you another. Jamal freaking Charles. He had a higher vertical jump than Jamal Charles as well. Now, I have a bone to pick with the mainstream media out there talking about Cam Skattebo. I have seen a lot of lazy takes when it comes to Cam Skattebo, comparing him to all these white running backs. Oh, he's Toby Gerhart. He's sneaky athletic. Stop saying that. Stop saying he's sneaky athletic. Just because he's a white running back doesn't mean he's sneaky athletic. He's athletic. He's athletic as hell, and there's nothing sneaky about it. He is who he is, all right? And because I am somebody that sees beyond racial color, I will give you a proper pro comp for Cam Skattebo. He reminds me of Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt has had a pretty decent career in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cleveland Browns. He's been very good in short yardage situations. That's who I see when I see Cam Skattebo. And his grade is probably about a third or fourth rounder. So for all you people out there that say, well, the Seahawks have needs on the offensive line that they have to address, and the edge rusher position, and among others here. Well, last time I checked, Seattle's got 10 total picks. It's not going to kill you to spend a third or fourth round pick on Cam Skattebo to be a running back / fullback for you. And you're going to fill a need that John Schneider says that they are working on adding a fullback. John Schneider's made that known very clear, that they are working to add a fullback to this offense after that went away under Ryan Grubb. Clint Kubiak has made it clear he wants to bring that position back, and Cam Skattebo could be exactly what he's looking for. More from John Schneider. That's actually a position we're working on right now in free agency as well as the draft. It's going to be new for us, But we're excited about trying to figure it out. I think the fullback is making a comeback. We don't get enough practice time in college football or pro football, so the fundamentals aren't great. But when you're talking about preparing for a two-back offense, your run fits, that's a lot now. Everybody's really preparing for one running back. So when Clint comes in, I know head coach Mike Macdonald was really fired up about having a fullback in our offense. Adding a fullback is essential, I think, especially on a team that's got their offensive line problems. Get an extra blocker in the fold, somebody that can run the football effectively, that can be a good pass catcher and a good blocker, whether it's at the fullback spot or even at the running back spot. I'm going to find a lot of use for Cam Skattebo in this Seattle offense. Who's a player the Seahawks should draft? Give me a name that comes to mind, whether it's Cam Skattebo or somebody else. Weigh in that comment section and let us know. For the best Seahawks coverage around, you got to be subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today, as we're bringing you daily news and rumors. We have live shows each and every Monday and Wednesday. We're talking all things draft, free agency, trades, and more. It's all right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. If you're a diehard Seahawks fan, you got to be subscribed to the channel. Make sure all your friends subscribe as well for real, honest analysis that you won't find other places, folks. We are keeping it 100 all the time here on Seahawks Today. Telling you what you need to hear, not always what you want to hear. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Make it happen, and we certainly would appreciate it. Now, Seattle, we mentioned, they want help at this fullback spot. And personally, if I'm looking for a guy to play the fullback spot, I would like at least the flexibility where, if needed to be, I can trust him to run the football and be a running back too, to be a hybrid of sorts. I think he fits exactly what Seattle was looking for in this sense. And my guy Brock Hewitt, Fox Sports college football analyst, also does radio with Seattle Sports. He agrees with yours truly. Listen to this. When I talk to folks around there and people in this system, they say for a fullback, you know what you're looking for. We're looking for a guy like Olandis Gary, somebody that was a college tailback, Cam Skattebo, who knows how to read the game, who sees things before they happen. And that's Cam Skattebo. Hewitt goes on to say, make him a Seahawk. That sounds great to me. I'm all in. I'm all in on the possibility. Let's see Seattle do this. Look, we know the running back room's loaded, all right? K9, Zach Charbonnet, I love that 1-2 punch. Kenny McIntosh, he ain't bad either. You got some real depth there. But I'm not going to ask any of these guys to play the fullback spot. I will ask Cam Skattebo to do that and to add another piece to this backfield. And not to mention, you don't know how much longer K9 and Zach Charbonnet are going to be here anyway. We still got to figure out if they're going to get extensions or not and what that situation looks like. Closing thought, if you draft Cam Skattebo, you're going to get a hard worker. You're going to get a playmaker, a great leader. You will not be disappointed. If you enjoyed today's show, hit the like button. Smash that like button. Give it a little tickle, if you will. And we appreciate you guys for stopping by here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Deuces. All right. There we go. 3 segments down, 1 to go. We will do a Q&A Rumors mailbag to follow. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Cam Skattebo, text, I had you laughing. I had you cracking up at that segment. I don't think you knew where I was going with that, but I think you saw Cam Skattebo firsthand. I think you would agree. Your thoughts on Cam Skattebo?
Yeah, I tend to agree with a lot of the things he said. I think he's a hard worker. I think Jack Lotteray would appreciate the things he said in terms of his work ethic and his ability, and also just more specifically, like going above and beyond to do what is asked of him. Not every football player, especially at the collegiate level, possesses that in their character and in their game. And I think Cam Skattebo does, like you said, ask him to jump. He's not going to ask where, or he's not going to ask if I want to jump. He's going to ask how high and where and when, and he'll do it. And I think that's important when you look for third and fourth round picks. You're especially looking for those character traits on top of, still being a really great running back. And like you said, I saw him play against Texas in the college football playoff, and he tore us up. He did. And I was nervous, legitimately nervous at times because of him and the impact that he had on the game, especially late in the second half of that game. But that's neither here nor there. I think he'd be a great fit in Clint Kubiak's offense, the fullback position making a resurgence here in Seattle. So I think he'd be a great draft pick in the third or fourth round. Not a high cost.
Can you back me up on this? You weren't mad when he won offensive MVP, were you?
No, I wasn't mad. I thought, I thought it was very fitting.
You're like, just respect credit where credit's due.
Yeah, for sure. I think he had at least 150 rushing yards, probably over 200 yards, both rushing and receiving in that game. He was great in both instances, but especially on the ground. I'm not mad that he won MVP or offensive MVP. I think he was.
You won the game. That's what really matters.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't too pressed about it. I'm not one of those fans, but I also was like, well, congratulations to him. And I think he deserved it, man. And he'll be great to wherever he goes, and hopefully it's Seattle.
So here's his stat line that he had in that Peach Bowl game.
Oh, okay.
30 carries.
Yep.
Which is a lot considering how tough that Texas defense was. That's a lot of touches.
Defense.
143 yards, 4.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, 8 catches, and 99 yards against the University of Texas, and they nearly won that game. They were down by quite a bit.
They were.
And he put that team on his back.
He did.
And they nearly won.
I told you, maybe
Cam Skattebo is not why they lost.
No. And he made me nervous as soon as he started putting the team on his back. I was like, no. I got up out of a chair and was like, oh, no. I was like, relax, Cam. I was like, calm down. And
I think the thing, I would add this too, Tex, when it comes to Skattebo. Mm-hmm. I mentioned how under-recruited he was.
Oh, 100%.
I think
0 stars.
Yeah. I think sitting there watching him this season,
mm-hmm.
and I'll be honest, I didn't know who he was prior to this year.
Me neither.
But the way I saw him break out, I was saying to myself, you were probably saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not on my team? Arizona State was god-awful before this past year.
True.
And they got this guy, why is he not in Kansas? Why is he not in Oklahoma? Texas would have gladly taken Cam Skattebo this year.
True.
It just came totally out of left field.
He is a sleeper, and you could argue that Kenny Dillingham had a lot of success, especially with his offense this past season, and won the Big 12 because of getting Cam Skattebo. I'm getting his name mixed up.
Oh, yeah. If he sucks in the NFL, they're going to call him Scam Skattebo.
That would be a humiliating nickname, and hopefully
he doesn't get called that.
I was going to say, that would suck.
Oh, man. I think I know exactly why you were laughing so hard in that show with the draft comp analogy I made.
Yeah.
I said I was just preaching facts.
Yeah.
I get tired of that people associate, you're a white running back, we're going to give you a comp of another white running back. Stop seeing beyond, look
just
a
don't
little
pick
deeper.
Christian McCaffrey every time, I guess.
Right. Not every white running back is Christian McCaffrey.
That's right.
Or Toby Gerhart. Some of these things transcend. Same thing with quarterbacks too. That happens way too much. Stop doing that, folks. Look beyond that. Dig a little further. We're going to dig further on this show. That's what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Do we still need some mailbag questions?
I was going to say, I think we have a few Super Chat questions that we can pop up real quick to see if they're worthy, and then I'll check the regular questions.
Yeah, that one's good. That one's good.
Bam.
Cool.
There's 3 there. Let me take a look at the
lost my screen. I can't see anything.
Whoa, everything just went black.
Uh-oh.
That was weird.
Now I got the, there we go. Now we're back.
Oh. I saw in production that the other studio was having issues on live stream, so now we're having our own set of issues.
Oh.
Bear with me for a sec. Now we're good.
Now we're good.
That was terrifying.
Get your questions in. Give me a couple more questions. I need at least 2 more questions before we begin this mailbag.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, folks, an update on the Super Chat front. We are at 155 right now. We got one more segment to go. The clock is ticking on getting a boot in before the end of today's show. We're 145 away. I know I got John Smith, I got Gingerbread Man, I got others that are here that would love to see us knock out a boot today. And we've already done a little bit of drinking, but we will see if we can get that done before the end of today's show. I need 2 more questions. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. I see Lance is in there. The Seahawk fan Jay, Richard. Okay. Michael, I think we're good on questions. All right. All right. So, let's get started. Game time it is. Game time it is. All right. Let's get started with our mailbag segment as we'll answer your questions. I want some trade stuff too. If you got any trade ideas, send them my way. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. Yep. Cool. All right. Without further ado, you can submit questions to us as we're going along with this mailbag as well, using hashtag Seahawks or Super Chatting. Oh. Screw Gino, no respect. I got a short on that coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned on Gino. It'll be on our shorts page. So more on that. It wasn't the Gino stuff wasn't worthy of a whole 10-minute video, but it was worth touching. So we'll have a short on that on the Gino respect stuff this week. So be on the lookout for that. I'll also post it on Instagram at Tyler Jones Live when it's out. And also on X and all those platforms. All right. Here we go. Without further ado, mailbag time begins right now. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is mailbag time. Some people would say it is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this edition of Seahawks Today. And I've already taken a sneak peek at the mailbag. You guys are asking me about Trey Hendrickson. I also saw Quay Walker in there. We'll go over those rumors. We'll answer your questions and more coming up starting right now. Let's begin with a $100 Super Chat from Pablo Domingo, who writes in, Tyler Jones. Hi. If you was the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, wouldn't that be great? That'd be a fantastic GM. What would you do at 18th overall? Josh Connerly from Oregon, Cameron Williams from Texas, Logan Brown from Kansas, or Josh Simmons from Ohio State? Pablo, first off, thanks for the $100 Super Chat. You're a real one. Salute to you. If you're giving me those 4 options, even though I went to Kansas, rock chalk, I do like Logan Brown, but I don't have a first-round grade on him. Cameron Williams, I don't have a first-round grade on either. So then I got to choose between Connerly and Simmons. And I like Simmons, but there's some injury concerns. So at that point, I guess I'm going with Josh Connerly as the pick. I prefer Kelvin Banks or Gray Zabel over Connerly or Simmons. I also would like to have Tyler Booker. But of the options you presented, I'll go with Josh Connerly from Oregon as the selection if you make me choose between those that you selected there. But the main priority is get offensive line help. And whether it's a guard or a tackle, we're going to figure it out. We're going to put the best 5 guys out there and go from there. But you're right on. You're on the right track, Pablo, of getting help on the offensive line with that first-round pick at 18. Myron with a $5 Super Chat. Let's go, Myron. Isn't there 2 offensive tackles from the Browns that are available? Sign them both. P.S. How was the Final Four? I had a great time at the Final Four. Myron, thank you for asking. Enjoyed myself in San Antonio. I'll be honest. Charles Barkley, he talks all the time about the big old women in San Antonio. I didn't see too many of them in actuality. And the reason why, it was a big sausage fest in San Antonio. I go to these bars in San Antonio, and, trying to test my luck of sorts. And you know what? Everywhere I turn, just dudes everywhere. And the girls that were there were with guys. It was pretty disappointing. But other than that, I had a great time. Now, as far as the Browns go, I believe what you're actually referring to is Wyatt Teller, the offensive guard that has been rumored to be shopped. And we did a video on this a couple weeks ago. I don't think you had to give up a ton. I think he comes in and he's your starting guard and would be a great upgrade. I know some people don't like that he has history with Uchenna Nwosu, a little dirty play that happened in the preseason that got Nwosu hurt. But I think you can work through that. I'd be open to bringing in Wyatt Teller there. Thanks, Myron. And then we got a $50 super chat from John Smith. Let's go, John. I see you. John Smith, the godfather of Seahawks today. He is not the biological father of Tyler Smith, the former producer of this program, for the record. He says, do you think the combination of cap space and draft capital could mean a big trade? Agreed. Asante Samuel Jr. being available does seem crazy unless they have another move up their sleeve. I love the idea of Samuel, Woolen, and Spoon defensive backfield. All right. So there's a couple things to dissect there. First off, thanks for the super chat, John. Combination of cap space and draft capital could mean a big trade. Yeah, you got 10 draft picks, and you got about $35 million in cap space. Yes, I think a big trade could certainly happen. What will it be? We'll see. But, yes, a trade is certainly within the realm of possibility. At the time of this recording, Asante Samuel Jr. is still unsigned. I would take him in a heartbeat, and I would start him at outside corner, opposite of Rick Woolen, playing with Devin Witherspoon, Josh Jobe backing him up. I think you'd be in great shape. I think the corner room would be very solid at that point, and you'd have some real depth. I think it makes a ton of sense, John Smith. Salute to you, my guy. Folks, you may be wondering, man, this mailbag, I love it. I got a question for Tyler Jones that I want to ask him. Well, here's how you do it, folks. If you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, hit that little noti bell, you'll be the first to know when we have new content here on Seahawks Today. As we're posting our daily news and rumors, we have our live shows at Mondays and Wednesdays. We do these mailbags every Wednesday where people ask us questions in real time, and we respond to them. We react accordingly. You got to be subscribed, and you got to turn on notifications. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Join the Noti Gang. If you're part of that Noti Gang that's got their notifications turned on, spam Noti Gang in the comments section, and we certainly would appreciate it. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV to subscribe now and turn on notifications. Hawks Forever writes in, fearless leader, I need to know. Could the Seahawks trade for Trey Hendrickson? First off, it is my honor and privilege to be your fearless leader each and every day here on Seahawks Today. So, yes, salute to you, Hawks Forever. Trey Hendrickson. So it's an interesting situation there in Cincinnati. They have spent a lot of money on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and that defense is cheeks as a result. The Bengals would be an awesome Big 12 team. They could put up points and can't play defense. Maybe Zach Taylor's going to be the next head coach at Texas Tech at this rate. With that said, Trey Hendrickson, he wants to get paid. At the time of this recording, it does not seem like there's any progress on him getting paid. I think it would be a damn shame if they do not end up paying him there in Cincinnati, especially with how bad that defense is. I would rather pay Trey Hendrickson than T. Higgins, if given the choice, but they made their bed. Now they got to sleep in it. 17.5 sacks back-to-back seasons, 8 sacks in 2022, 14 sacks in 2021. He would be awesome. He would be great in Seattle. But that asking price might be a little steep. Might be a little too steep. I know there's been some rumblings about Seattle potentially being interested. I know Mike McDonald would love to have him. But at least as of now, I don't see it happening. But stay tuned. Never say never. Should the Seahawks trade for Trey Hendrickson? That's our pinned comment today. T for trade. P for pass. Way in the comments section, tell me if you think they should trade for Trey Hendrickson or not. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats. The lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sport events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time's got you covered. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Game Time is the official ticket marketplace of Seahawks today. They have their last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time picks and makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you save even more when you choose a section and Game Time chooses the seats. They have their all-in pricing. You toggle this feature and it'll show you the total up front. No surprise fees at checkout. They also have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Maybe you want to get out to T-Mobile Park to see your Seattle Mariners. Love that stadium, by the way. I've been to several Mariner games over the years, had great experience, and you can have a great experience seeing the Mariners or whatever events in Seattle with Game Time and save a ton of money on Game Time, my friends. Take the guesswork out of buying with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT. SPRTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. Johnny Be Good. Johnny Be Good writes in. Could the Seahawks trade for Quay Walker? Quay Walker of the Green Bay Packers, coming off 3 straight seasons with over 100 tackles. The former Georgia star has been very, very good. I'll tell you what, I would probably say no. Had Seattle not re-signed Ernest Jones, I think they would be giving Green Bay a call to inquire about Quay Walker. But I think, at least as of right now, and time is relative, things could change, Seattle seems pretty comfortable with Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight as your starting linebackers inside. But if something were to change for whatever reason, Quay Walker could be a potential option to play alongside Ernest Jones. But I like Quay Walker a lot. I think that he's been very good for Green Bay. I think he's a terrific young talent. But I just don't see that being the biggest priority for what Seattle is looking for at this point. So I would say no. I don't think that they're going to trade for Quay Walker. It's not a knock on him. It's just more so Seattle has other things that are more important to address right now. Should the Seahawks trade for Quay Walker? 2 options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Your chance to be John Schneider, and let us know if they should trade for Quay Walker or not. All right. Time for a few more questions. Let's start with the Boskin, who writes in, best cover corner to draft in the 2nd round. Ooh. Can I introduce you to Siobhan Revel from East Carolina? He's been mocked to the Seahawks a couple times. He's a very good coverage corner. If Harrison from Kentucky, if he slides, and that's a possibility, he's borderline 1st or 2nd round. I could see that as an option. Those are 2 names. And Seattle's got 2 second-round picks. So maybe they use one on a corner. I think there's a pretty good chance that happens. But Revel would be the one in particular. He was injured this past season. But prior to the injury, he looked like one of the best corners in college football, an All-American, a freak athlete. That's the name I'd be watching for there, Boskin. Aaron Vermouth writes in, should we trade up for Warren or Loveland? I would be very tempted. I would love the idea of either one, especially Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren might be my favorite player in this draft. Seattle's got a big need at the tight end spot. They're changing up this offense where the tight end's going to be more important than ever before. And I see a lot of people in the chat, every time I bring up Tyler Warren, they say to me, we don't need a tight end, we need a lineman. Tight end is on the offensive line, geniuses. Tyler Warren would change this offense completely in the receiving game, in the blocking game. I like the idea. I'm very curious of the cost because some people have Tyler Warren going top 10. A lot of people have Colston Loveland going top 15. So depends on the price, depends on how the board works out. But I'd be very fascinating. I would be open to the idea, Aaron. I think you might be onto something. Do I think it will happen? Probably not, but we'll see. Last question. The Boskin writes in, how long will John Schneider survive if he doesn't draft an O-lineman in the first 3 picks? So, the answer would be if he doesn't draft an O-lineman in the first 3 picks, then we're all in trouble. Everybody's screwed, and John Schneider's getting fired at some point, if that's the case. But basically, I think it comes down to this with our old boy John. If they do not fix this offensive line, if they don't get it right this offseason, which certainly possible, John's gone. He's fired. That's the assignment ahead for John Schneider over the rest of this offseason with this second wave of free agency, potential trades, and the draft and all that. He's got to get the offensive line right. This offensive line's been bad for years. They've gotten worse every single year. Last year, I would argue, that was the worst offensive line in the history of the Seattle Seahawks franchise. It was that bad. And it's the only thing holding Seattle back from being a playoff team. If they can get the offensive line figured out, this team has no excuse not to be a playoff team next year. So, John, clock is ticking. We're waiting. Draft, free agency, whatever it may be. Get the offensive lineman. We want it, and we want it now. Do it. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. We got you covered each and every day on the channel for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Turn on notifications. Lock us in. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the channel. All right. There we go. 4 segments in the books. Fun show today, my friends. Flew by, in all honesty. I enjoyed myself. Did you guys have a good time today? Everybody have a good time today? Let's go to the Super Chat menu. We can stick around. Okay, I've been told we have to leave. We are being kicked out, my friends. So we will get out of here. A lot of fun today. More coverage coming up on the channel. If you are mad that we have to leave right now, blame Mavericks Today and Jeffrey Cooperstein. They have to get ready for the return for Luka to Dallas tonight, which I'm sure is going to be very, very interesting. So if you want to go troll Coop, please do, by all means, over on Mavericks Today. So we will get out of here. Big thanks to Big Tex, our entire crew of Tyler Jones. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. So long. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.